All right, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, and my name is Judson Powell. All right, I want to go over a few topics today. I want to talk about Akon first, and well, in fact, I kind of want to lump him and Kanye West together. I know that's like y'all like what? Why Kanye West and Akon? And a lot of people like Akon. I used to like Akon, but then now I'm kind of like backpedaling a little bit because of the fact of all this stuff that he's talking about, how like we need to forget about slavery and whatever. Now I understand and I get part of it, but here's the part that I don't forget, and I don't forget is the fact that look, we can't keep on. It's almost like saying, like what I say about racism. Like racism will never end, but by the same token, you can't act like it doesn't exist. All right, and by the same token, we can't act like that slavery never existed. And also, the other thing is that he is not a descendant of slaves. So spiritually and psychologically, he does not have that part in him. All right, so to tell somebody who's been psychologically abused for over 400 years, and then to tell somebody that has like family histories and all this kind of stuff, which includes slavery, Jim Crow, and all of the negative things that happen to black people over and throughout time and history is ridiculous. All right, and the reason why I lump him in there with Kanye is like all of these things about slavery was a choice, Harriet Tubman didn't really free slaves, and all this kind of stuff. To me, it's inconsiderate, and it's disingenuous completely, and especially for black men to be saying this is absolutely ridiculous. And once again, I think it goes to the fact of it goes to money, and I believe it goes to the fact Akon has money now. And before he had money, he would have never said anything like that. The same thing with Kanye West. These people are trying to, make our plight or make our entire history insignificant, which is basically what white supremacists try to do, and also what white nationalists try to do. Make our journey insignificant. But you can't do that, because it's very significant, because we invented everything, we created everything, all of the things that we did, they need to be talked about, and they need to be, created. Now, I'm not saying we don't need to create a future. Yes, we do. We definitely do. In fact, it's the same thing that I keep talking about with this whole voting thing. The whole voting thing is, right now, it's too late to do all this stuff, all the grandiose things that we want to do. It's too late for this election cycle. But for the next election cycle, start organizing. Start making political action committees and political action groups, and have the grassroots campaigns. And, I saw one guy that I've been arguing with forever, and, he finally said what? He said, well, let's make our own candidates. That's what you got to do. Look, there are a bunch of offices that are open. And I talked to y'all about that. About my wife told me the other night. She was like, do you know how many like elected offices are there and open, and people are not running for them, or people, here in our state, we got a ton of Senate and, like the local Senate and the local, representatives and everything that are unrepresented. So we need to start, getting people to put into those offices, because once again, economic power without political power is dead. Y'all can, and then we don't have either. We have economic power, but we don't join together to use it together. We need, that $1.5 trillion that we're spending in the economy every year. Well, we need to take that $1.5 trillion and we need to make statements like, look, this is, and we need to realize Biden has a black agenda, but does it line up with what we all really want? You see what I'm saying? So once he gets in there, then go at him and make him accountable. See, the problem is not the vote or anything like that. The problem is that when people get in office, we have to start holding them accountable. Accountability. That's the issue. The issue is accountability. And then we got these people out here. I understand. If when you get money, you get apathetic, you get lazy, because you're not hungry anymore. But there's a lot of black people out here that are hungry, y'all. And that's why I completely, like I told y'all, I'm hypocritical as far as Kamala is concerned too. But the one thing is that, yeah, she may not have been my first choice, but the choice that I know that can get Trump out of there. I want Trump out more than I want anything else. I don't have any other, my agenda is to get Trump out. Then after that the next agenda is a black agenda. And the next agenda after that is to get black people into these offices so that we have a political base that has power to it. I don't agree with Boyce Watkins. I don't agree with Claude Anderson. I do not agree with them because they're straddling the fence. Either take a side or don't. Judge Joe Brown, he took a side. I see he took a side. He doesn't like Kamala. Fine. That's all well and fine. But y'all cannot expect for a person to be a attorney general of a state and not put people in jail. That's what they do. That's their job. Okay, so what y'all want? I'm just curious. So what y'all want? Y'all want her to take the job as attorney general, but don't jail any black people, even if they're really criminals. And we got to stop all of this stuff. What we need to realize is that yes, there are people in every single race who deserve to be in jail. There are people in every single race. I don't care. There are Jews that deserve to be in jail. There are white folks that deserve to be in. There are Caucasians. There are Italians. There are people in every race that deserve to be in jail. So you can't say, okay, she put this many people, but y'all not putting up the numbers equally and showing who else did she jail? Who else did she put in jail? That's what I'm saying. All y'all want to do is represent this as being a black thing. And the fact of the matter is that drugs and alcohol and all of those things are a contributing factor to her having to do her job. So look at what we got on the street right now. On the street right now, we have methamphetamine and fentanyl and heroin. Those are the three main drugs of choice right now. So you mean to tell me you want people out on the streets pushing heroin, fentanyl, and methamphetamine, when we know the detrimental and adverse effects? Those are people that need to go to jail or need to be in some type of rehabilitation or whatever. But that's what's on the street right now. You can't deny it. And people that want to get rid of it, there are people, and the same thing was true, and I've been trying to tell y'all, in the 90s and the 80s, what were you going to do? Crack cocaine took over the city streets of major cities around the United States of America. What were we going to do? What would you have done? So everybody, because they're black, they just get a pass. You get a free pass for being black because you were selling crack cocaine. Or you should not go to jail for selling crack cocaine. The only drug there's only two things. Or you shouldn't go to jail for killing people while you were driving under the influence, which and it goes across literally every race. Now, was it disproportional to black men? Of course it was. But that was designed. It wasn't designed by the Democratic Party, nor was it designed by liberals. It was designed by conservatives. The 18th, all of that stuff with the 18th Amendment, all the way throughout history, we were not in control of that. And when we got down to the point where we needed somebody to be in control of it, then there were black mayors. There were black mayors at that time who wanted the crime bill. Why? Because their cities were inundated with gang crime and gang violence. Y'all remember open air drug markets? So those people shouldn't have went to jail for running those open air drug markets. people that were running ongoing criminal enterprises, which was what the RICO laws were. So they shouldn't have gone to jail. They should just be allowed to operate with impunity and not have to suffer any consequences for their actions. I mean, and you can call me a coon all you want, but what I'm trying to say is there are some people that need to be in jail, or else you will not be able to walk around the streets safe. And all of those people, but they were incited by what? By the Contra affair with Ronald Reagan. They had nothing to do with Democrats or anything like that. The Democrats came along in the 90s and the 80s, the late 80s and the 90s, Johnny come lately. Because after Reagan and them infiltrated the streets with crack cocaine and all of that, and all of the gang violence, and they used gangs and they sold body parts and all of that kind of stuff. And there were white folks that were involved in it too, and they went to jail too, or they ended up dead too. But we're not showing the whole entire picture. We're not showing the entire picture. And what needs to be done now is there needs to be, what can we do moving forward? Everybody's living in the past. The past is gone. Okay? The past is done. You can't do anything about the past. All right? The only thing that you can change is what's going to come before you, what's going to happen in the future. You know, even when I talk to my son about investing and stuff like that, what do I talk to him about? I tell him, look, you need to find things that are going to affect the future. What's going to affect the future? Okay? Voting, and right now voting is the only thing that will affect the future. Do you realize, and my final point today is that if you have an unchecked Donald Trump, that is my concern. And unchecks and balances, no checks and balances over a lame duck president who is already unstable and shows no form of leadership. All right, this coronavirus thing is serious. All right, y'all thinking he is not trying to solve the problem. He doesn't care. He's just gonna let everybody die until it goes away. He's not concerned about things like that. He's concerned with money. That's it. The only thing that President Trump is concerned with is getting rich people richer. And everybody else, if you die, you die. And I do not feel like Biden and Harris feel that way. All right? They don't feel that way. And no matter what they did in the past, no matter what their past may hold or whatever, I got to be concerned with going on in the future. Everything, the country is still basically closed down, and we keep on opening up little things, and we keep discovering, because guess what? They don't really know the pathology of this coronavirus. They don't really know how it travels. They don't know how it spreads. Why do I have a whole group of homeless people who don't have any masks, that don't take any precautions, that don't even really wash, but they don't have coronavirus? But then a couple of people go to church and sit in church together and they all die. They don't understand what this virus is. They don't understand how it, or maybe they do, and maybe they don't care. That's all I'm saying. But what I do know is that we need a change in leadership. We don't need this same guy up there. And that's why I'm voting for Kamala and for Biden. That's why. It has nothing to do with, you got, at some point you got to get common sense. And if you know that the source of all your problems is this man, okay, then you get rid of him. That's what you do. You don't care. So why are y'all gonna, all of this apathy and all of these things, all of these Russian bots and all of this kind of stuff is crazy, and voter suppression, all of that is designed to keep Trump in office so that he can run amok for the next 4 years and not have any checks and balances or constraints on him. He will run the entire government by executive order. He already don't have a full cabinet. He don't take advice from nobody. He don't have nothing. Right? Get him out. Fastest 15 minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but most of all, hit the love button. Love yourself.